we have no problem saying that it is better for the boy to get out of his mother's basement. It is better for the boy to go out, get a job. But then when it comes to women, we say, well, they can do whatever they want. But I want shoulds. I want you to tell women what to do. What is best for the women? Emily?
I think men should go out and work.
This conversation starts off pretty laid back. 3 women and Michael talking about careers and lifestyle, and what fulfillment looks like. But it doesn't really take long before the mask starts slipping. You've got one woman here insisting she's not a liberal feminist. She says she's conservative and traditional and all that. But then she spends the whole time tearing down stay-at-home moms, mocking traditional values. And eventually, Michael asks a direct question, and it's like, look, we always tell men what they should do. So what should women do? And that's when everything becomes very clear. Who's actually promoting values and who's just promoting herself?
My friend Tommy Lauren has gone viral for talking about this problem and placing the blame at the feet of stay-at-home boys.
But Laura, I got to tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. That's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim.
No, I'm with her on this. I live in Beverly Hills. Most of the men around here come from money. They're complete mommy's boys. They stay at home until they're literally in their late 30s. And there's guys who walk around and they're TikTokers. I mean, she makes a lot of good points. I agree with everything she's saying. I don't ever put 100% blame on, but yeah, she's right. Men are also becoming a bit feminine.
Okay, so if you had to place the blame, you say it's not 100%. Is it 90-10, 75-25?
But I think it's 50-50.
So to back up Tommy's point, she says the men around her come from money, which is apparently a problem now when selecting for a husband. And they love their mothers too much for her, and they stay at home until their late 30s, apparently. But it's like, how many men does she actually know who are living at home into their late 30s? That sounds so rare, it's really not even worth bringing up. She's acting like that's the norm. It's obviously not. You're also going to see as the video goes on, she has a serious problem with men using social media and somehow associates that with being feminine. Her takes are so ridiculous. I honestly can't believe anyone takes her seriously. And she complains that there are guys walking around who are TikTokers, and that's somehow a pertinent reason why the pickings are slim. Like, I agree. It's cringe and gay if they're doing thirst traps or dances. Their behavior is lame. But if you're just making content on TikTok in general, that's no different than being a YouTube Shorts creator. And if we're being real, being in the public eye, being a public figure, has always been more of a male role than a female one. And then saying it's a 50-50 issue is the easy and politically correct answer. It's also wrong.
And I would say where I live, it's actually mainly the women, and I'm going to contribute that to modern feminism. Just the fact that they don't want to be traditional, they don't want to live this traditional life, but the men are looking for that. But they're struggling to find traditional women because modern feminism has told women that their career is more important than having a family.
Okay, so you're placing the blame more at the girls' feet.
Yes.
But then how do you fix it? How are the two going to meet?
So get a job, move out. You don't need to be online. I don't think online is necessarily a place for men. I think it's a very feminine thing to do.
So you hear that, Michael? Apparently, according to this chick, you're being very feminine right now just for being online and hosting this panel. This entire brand you've built, your catalog, your YouTube channel, all of it is very feminine. Very feminine of you, Michael. Because in her world, having a public image, being a thought leader, influencing people through media, no, that's something women do, not men. So sit down, Michael, and let the girl bosses run the internet. Once again, she opens her mouth before her brain catches up and just exposes how unserious she is.
I mean, this is like a rabbit hole because obviously, yeah, we've like neglected men, which, some people can agree with, some people don't. But I just think, yeah, it's a big thing. It's going to be where they're raised, what they're raised by, what religion, what culture, what they're around. I mean, there's so many factors to it. There's literally no black and white answer. And if there was, we'd already have it figured out by now. But obviously, there is going to be some aspect of embracing normal traditional gender roles.
So in case you forgot what spawned that whole ramble, she was asked, how do we fix it? How are men and women supposed to meet in the middle? And after all the wandering, her empty thoughts about culture and religion, upbringing, she finally lands on something. And she says, obviously, there is going to be some aspect of embracing normal, traditional gender roles.
So it's like, yeah, I think maybe if men were out and working and not on TikTok, things would be a little bit better. But I don't know. I don't have a definite answer for any of these things. It's also culture. Things have changed. Also, it's so expensive out here. Most men are like, it would be insane to be like, how am I going to be a provider? You have to make millions and you still feel like you're at the poverty line out here.
So again, her question was, how do we fix it so the two are going to meet? And somehow she's landed on complaining that men aren't out working enough, as if the issue, according to her, is just a bunch of lazy guys choosing TikTok over real jobs. That's her big insight. That men scrolling on their phones are the reason relationships are broken. It's not serious thinking. It seems to be just reflexive blame shifting. She reaches for like the easiest target in her mind, men being on TikTok. Apparently this is really all she thinks about because I guess she doesn't like it. So that is the depth of her analysis.
First date, does the guy pay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Always.
100%.
Every date.
Yes.
Every date.
Yes.
Okay. Does the guy open the door for the girl?
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And right away, it's a chorus of yes, always 100%, every date, every day. You really can't make this shit up. It's actually becoming like cartoonish at this point. Their cognitive dissonance. They make it so easy, and yet so many people still refuse to see it. The only woman on this panel here actually deserving of that kind of treatment, Savannah, was the only one who didn't instinctively blurt out yes to getting free stuff. That alone, the fact that modern women are constantly demanding traditional treatment is enough for men to look at them and say, yeah, I'm good. I'm good on this.
Does the guy expect any improper behavior that really should only exist between a husband and a wife?
No, of course, out here.
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
Hold on, wait. Is that of course yes or of course no?
They shouldn't.
Of course, yes.
They do expect it. Is that good? It should they expect it or they should not?
Whatever. I mean, I'm not going to demonize them. It's what most people do. So
If the critique from the women is these men aren't acting like men and they're not being chivalrous and they're not, treating me like the sweet angel that I am. And then the critique from the men is, well, these girls are not behaving like dignified, modest women. They're on Onlyfans and they're, promiscuous or whatever. Don't we need to raise the expectations and say, no, ladies, be modest. Men, don't be Casanovas.
yeah, you got to raise it on both ends though, because you also have to get women and men to both admit that they were slightly wrong, which no one wants to do because right now all we do is pin each other against each other. Oh no, all the women, they're all on OnlyFans and they're all hoeing it out constantly. Oh, all the men, they're just, feminine TikTokers.
To fix things, we have to get men and women to admit they were wrong because all we do is pin things on each other. And then she references herself. The same line she's been pushing this entire video. Oh, all the men, they're just, feminine TikTokers. So by her own logic, she is part of the problem. And she's been agitating it the entire time.
Like you got to get to a middle ground. Like, yeah, is it great for every woman out here to be on OnlyFans? No, it's a little crazy because, look, it is kind of sex work. It's kind of prostitution.
Oh, it absolutely
I would say
is.
more than kind of. Yeah,
It is 100% prostitution.
Yeah. But also, when you have all these men that just go through women because they have unlimited options, and this is what most girls are, and they're like, yeah, I want a good girl. But then they say they want a good girl, then they meet the good girl, and they cheat on them anyway. So it's just like, it's a very difficult thing that's going to take a long time to try to figure out, honestly.
This girl is clearly used to talking to very progressive people and then them looking at her when she says stuff like she's crazy because She can't even call OnlyFans what it is without saying kinda. It's kinda sex work. It's kinda prostitution. No, it is. She's not conservative at all. She is just a progressive who got fed up with like drag queens in schools and illegal immigration. And now she thinks that makes her based. But every time she opens her mouth, it's clear, for one, she has no idea what she's talking about. And she's still carrying a feminist worldview. And she's just another lost girl who thinks men don't want good, virtuous women. She says there at the end, men say they want good girls and then they go and cheat on them. So, well, you know, whatever they say really doesn't have any meaning to it. She really thinks men don't want good, virtuous women. She is so lost, and it's so clear.
So I actually don't like the buzzword trad wife because, again, I think it's a buzzword in culture, and there's a lot of things tied to it. But
when I was a kid, we just called them wives.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what we do.
Yeah, and now, you know, I would say stay-at-home wife would probably be the proper term for it. But, you know, I would have to disagree. I think that there's a very narrow perspective that when you are a wife who doesn't make her own income and the man is providing, that you are trapped by a man. I mean, I will post things about my husband providing for me and they're like, wait till he leaves you in 20 years and goes and finds a younger girl and leaves you with absolutely nothing. And the truth of the matter is that doesn't really happen, right? Like 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women who were unhappy or just bored. It really doesn't happen where the man just leaves you with absolutely nothing. I think too, like my marriage personally, Christ is at the center of our marriage. And if you don't have that foundation, then of course it's going to fall apart. Of course there's going to be infidelity. Of course you're going to be looking elsewhere.
Emily, does that do anything for you?
I promote women can have it all. I work full time. I also cook. I also clean. I do everything. It's not something to be put down, which is the problem with these trad wives are hating on women that work. And it's like, we're not forcing you to work. I like working. It makes me happy. So I'm like, do you? But this pressing this life on everyone, it's not for everyone. And it's also not going to work out for everyone.
Yeah, but see, she doesn't have it all because she's clearly focused on her career. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have children.
Do I think women with children who are married are happier? Yes, there are statistics that show that. But we live in a world where I'm not going to tell women what to do. They can go to work. They can do whatever they want. They can be on OnlyFans. But do I think that they're happier when they have a man providing for them and they have children? Yes, because it's just our primal nature.
But then you said I was bitter. How am I bitter? Because I work, I cook, I clean, and my man fully takes care of me, and I have my own money to take care of myself. So it's
because there would be no reason to go online and bash women who do have that lifestyle unless you were bitter about it. It doesn't make sense to.
My job
regardless.
is to give opinions for a living. It's an opinion. If you were truly happy, you wouldn't be so triggered. But you took it extremely personal. I'm like, sweetie, I'm not talking to you. It's an opinion. I give them for a living. I have a job.
But then why don't you like it that other people give you opinions in your comments?
No, it's funny because it's like you're clearly triggered. As if you're that happy, you wouldn't be bothered. And she thinks I'm like talking about her. I'm like, no, I'm talking about all the young girls online that are literally promoting this, and then ironically doing it as a job to grift and make money as well, which is so funny because it all comes for full circle. To
Savannah's point, most divorces are initiated by women. So it's not that some women aren't passed up for the secretary. That does happen, but that's relatively minor. It more seems to be impelled by feminism and by women's choices. And on the notion of having it all, at a certain point, you can't have it all. If you're at work 8 hours a day at the widget factory doing the spreadsheets, those are 8 hours that you're not going to be with your kids. And I think the question that's being raised here by Melanie and Savannah is it better, is it more conducive to women's happiness to have the kids, get married, bake the bread, do the house stuff? Or is it more conducive to women's happiness to go out and work at a corporation and have a career?
My answers do both. I don't believe in this choosing thing. We live in a modern day society. There's so many factors to this. It's not just this whole thing of trad wives. Oh, the corporate slave. First of all, I've loved most of my careers, and most of them weren't 8-hour days, Monday through Friday. These women can have jobs and still be at home and still be with the children. Also, a lot of women have kids, and I hate to say it, are not fully fulfilled by that and are like, dude, I need to go back to work. I need to be around adults. Like, sorry, that's a real thing.
Nature is not politically correct. It doesn't care if you want to work, build a career, or go find yourself first. As a woman, you have a small window to reproduce. Use it or lose it, right? But she refuses to prescribe anything that isn't about choice, because everything has to revolve around what a woman wants, never what she owes, never what's necessary, never what's right. It's all just, well, do whatever makes you happy and things will magically work out. That's the disease.
I'm like, I'm not going to tell women they have to choose. You can do both. You can make it work. And the more money you have, the more opportunities, and you're going to have ways to help. Maybe then I can go hire someone to cook or to clean and spend more time.
No, I know
with my
you can.
kids.
That's what you have to do. But I think you're evading the question, because the point you've just made is, look, I can hire a nanny, I can hire a chef, I can take the money. Yeah, I know. That's one kind of life. But when you say you can have it all, that it violates Aristotle's law of non-contradiction, because in the two choices two ways of life that I'm presenting at least are: you're at home, you don't have a job. You have a lot of jobs, but you don't have a career. Your life is in the private sphere. The other version is your life is in the public sphere, but you get to do a lot of fun, like wife, mom stuff too. But I'm saying those are separate things. Savannah or Melanie, do you have thoughts on if one is better than the other, or are we all just going to be like modern people and not make a decision?
My mom worked from home. She was a settlement consultant, so she only worked when she had a case come to her. But she sacrificed a lot of work when she had us as kids, and she was able to basically be a stay-at-home mom who took maybe like 2 conference calls a month. So she could have made a lot more money than she did, but she sacrificed that to raise us as kids. So I don't think that you can have it all, because having it all would be her making as much money as she can with work, being very successful in her career, and also having successful children. But you
can't bilocate.
Like
you can't be in 2 places simultaneously.
Yeah, no. And I mean, she took us to school every day. She picked us up. She was at all of our games. She was at all of our events. And I would not trade that for the world. And that was a good example to me, because when I have kids, I want to be at everything. Like I want to watch them grow up. I don't want somebody else raising my children, or even my parents raising my children, because they have to watch them. So I think I had a great example of that growing up. But even my mom would tell you, like, no, I had to sacrifice a lot of money and a lot of my career to raise children, but she'll tell you it was 100% worth it.
I do not have the view, as you suggested, Savannah, that, look, a woman, if she wants to do whatever she wants, that's fine. She can go on Onlyfans, or I don't know. It should not, that Onlyfans should be banned. The operators should be arrested and shipped off to St. Helena, So yep. I think we should put lots of limits on all this stuff. And the question that I have is we're trying to bridge the divide between the sexes so that people can have good lives. What is best for these people? We have no problem saying that it is better for the boy to get out of his mother's basement. It is better for the boy to go out, get a job, not be a stay-at-home son or whatever. It's better for him. He should. But then when it comes to women, we say, well, they can do whatever they want. Maybe this is better, but maybe it's not. Maybe this. But I want shoulds. I want you to tell women what to do. What is best for the women? Emily?
I think men should go out and work.
And Emily immediately responds with, well, I think men should go out and work. She was asked what women should do, and she immediately deflects to men. It's instinct at this point. Even when the spotlight is on women, the first thing out of her mouth is a directive for men. It's actually kind of funny. It really is. She couldn't just answer the question, because deep down, she doesn't really believe women should do anything. Oh, they can, they might, they're allowed, but should? That word sets off alarm bells. Feminism trained women to dodge duty like the plague. Responsibility, wow, that's oppressive. Obligation, misogyny. But telling men what to do, that is totally fine. Matter of fact, it is encouraged.
I think women should also educate themselves. I think they should find a job that makes them happy. We don't all have to pretend like every job is slave labor. I've had many careers. I've been happy in all of them. I think women should have something that's theirs on their own. I also think it gives you more options. It makes you, in my opinion, because I give those for a living, more valuable and better off. And when they find someone, if they choose to become a stay-at-home, trad wife, whatever BS they call it online now, then that's fantastic. If they want to have hobbies, if they want to work a little, if they want to quit their jobs, whatever's best for them that makes them happy and the children, that's great. I support all that.
So she says women should educate themselves. They should get a job. But listen to how fast it unravels. If they want to stay home, great. If they want to work a little, great. If they want to quit, also great. There is no real should in there. This is the playbook. Say something that sounds kind of responsible and then build 10 escape hatches right after it. Because feminism, women are allergic to structure. Feminism will not let women have duty, only choices. But meanwhile, men, there's no nuance. There's no back doors. There's no wiggle room. Work, provide, and be a man. Women get endless flexibility. Men get expectations. And nobody really, some will call it a double standard, but generally speaking, that does not get pointed out because the whole system is built to protect women from accountability. That's what this really is. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to feel like they're doing the right thing no matter what they choose. And that's the game.
I see in your answer, Emily, a lot of they should have choice. They should have something on their own, something independent. But I am skeptical of that, okay? I don't have a lot of choices. I mean, I do, and I get to do whatever I want. I don't even have a real job. I just do, this is my job. Is this even a job? But I don't have a lot of choices. I am married. I got to be home at a certain time most nights. I got to do stuff. I've got to make some money because I've got to pay certain bills. I don't accept divorce under any circumstances. So I don't have a prenuptial agreement. My wife could take me to the cleaners if she wanted to. I don't have choice. I don't have things that are really independent from my wife. We don't have separate personal bank accounts or anything. We don't have separate anything really. We sleep in the same bed. So my question then is it really good? I know modernity says it's good to be independent and have choices and endless options and whatever. Does that really make you happy?
I think the word choice is very overglorified in our society. Like, choice is so sexy. We love having choice. I would agree with you, Michael. In my marriage, I will not leave my husband under any circumstance. We follow the Bible. We're loyal to each other. He's the head of the household, so he makes the decisions in our family. And I'm actually happier that way. I mean, I'm very young. I got married at 18, but before then I was given all these choices like, oh, well, you could move here and go get a degree here, go get a job here. And that was overwhelming. That was actually more depressing than living in a marriage that is a unit, and in which you don't have a ton of choices and you don't have a ton of freedom, quote unquote. And so if you watch my content, you know that I usually say you should do this, you ought to do this, because statistically speaking, married women with children are happier. But again, I'm going to have to agree with Melanie too, that the Bible is the foundation and Christ is the foundation. Will make you want to do things that are inherently traditional and that are biblical. So I would say that choice has just gotten so out of hand, and we ought to go back to biblical principles.
All right, now it seems like the divide here is you got Melanie and Savannah are like really pro trad life. Emily, you're being made out to be the liberal feminist here, even though you're pretty conservative, right? You're pretty.
I know,
pretty
it's funny because everyone says I'm like too far right, which is like there's no winning, is there?
But do you feel that you are a little more on the liberal or feminist side compared to some of the women who are pushing the trad life?
I mean, textbook definition feminism of wanting men and women to have like equal rights. Yeah, like I would not deny that, of course.
You would call yourself a feminist? Because I know people always say feminism means you want men and women to have equal rights. I think that's BS. I think it's an ideology.
What it's supposed to mean and what it did mean until it got hijacked by everything. Now, if you say you're a feminist, everyone's calling you a liberal and all these different things. No, I think what makes us different are our strengths. I think trying to blend those together is a complete weakness. I think men and women are completely different animals and should be treated differently. So it's like the problem is they're trying to blend these things to be like, oh, we should just be living the same life and doing the same things. Absolutely not. That clearly is not working out as we see that in society.
Emily says men and women are fundamentally different, but then prescribes the same life plan to both. Go to school, get a job, have something that's yours, maybe start a family if it makes you happy. So it's equality of roles. despite claiming there's deep biological difference. She talks like a feminist who's embarrassed to use the label. But her actual worldview is feminist to the core. Her idea of balance is that both sexes do the same thing and then pick what they want from there, which means no distinct duties, no structure, and no clear expectations for women. And that's why she can say that men and women are different, but then still treat them as interchangeable. Because like in her head, difference is acknowledged, but it is not acted on.
Do I think women should have the right to vote and all these things? Which, yes, all the pick-me feminists, they're like, oh my God, women shouldn't even vote. Like, I'm sorry. I think that's embarrassing. I think literally all they're doing is trying to get attention from men, ironically, because most of them are probably unhappy in their marriages and not happy with all the choices they've made. I'm also coming from a different perspective. I'm in a city. I'm also not super religious. I'm very clear about that online, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm a part of this new wave of feminism. I mean, being in one of the bluest places in the country, I live a very, ironically, traditional and conservative lifestyle. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't go out. We're having dinner, we're cooking, we're with the dogs. We'd like to
Emily,
get married one day.
My definition of conservatism, you actually have to drink and smoke.
Emily claims that she is not a part of the new wave of feminism, but everything out of her mouth says otherwise. She mocks women who criticize female suffrage or challenge modern gender dynamics. She calls them pick-me's, says they're just desperate for male attention, and insists that they are secretly miserable in their marriage. That's pure feminist projection. The same contempt you hear from blue-haired activists. She doesn't believe in gender ideology, sure, but she still ridicules women who want to return to real tradition. That is feminism, just without the nose ring and the blue hair. She's just another secular feminist with some dogs and who thinks skipping mimosas and weed makes her a traditional woman.
I personally don't think women should vote, and that's probably going to be a very far opinion. And that's not to get male validation. That's simply like I maybe married women, because it would just be like my husband having another vote. But during like the suffragist movement, they sold this to women as, oh, well, now you can vote differently than your husband, so now you have choice. And so if we're going to erase women's choice, as in going on Onlyfans or working or whatever it may be, then you have to repeal the 19th too. I mean, I just don't, that we're losing elections. We lost in 2020 because single women were voting. So I think that's a problem.
I thought it was the ballot drop boxes, but it's a fair point. I mean, there were plenty of women during the suffragette movement.
Voter ID, but it's like, also, didn't you vote? Didn't you vote for Trump?
Well, but it was like my husband had another vote. I'm not voting against my husband. If I was voting against my husband, that would be a problem.
I don't think couples should be voting against each other. Right?
At the end of the day, nothing makes a woman angrier than seeing another woman happy. That is the energy Emily brought to this entire conversation. She claims she has it all, but she is unmarried, she is childless, visibly bitter, and spent the whole time tearing down women who chose a life she can't seem to access. She mocked stay-at-home wives, she insulted Savannah's husband, she rolled her eyes the entire time like she was on reality TV, and all while saying she's the one who's happy. Emily is not a conservative. She's a career-first, secular feminist with a dog and a TikTok account, telling the world how fulfilled she is while attacking women who are actually living the life she claims to support the choice to choose. I think we all saw this for what it is. It is just projection, jealousy, and bitterness coming from Emily. And credit to Savannah, she stayed calm, spoke with conviction, and didn't need to tear anyone down. There was no eye rolls. There was zero bitterness as well. Just married, feminine, and content. Everything Emily claims to support but cannot relate to. And Emily's boyfriend is going to be in for a rough ride if he chooses to marry this chick, because a lot of bad things can happen when you marry a feminist. And in this next video, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So right here, you can watch it. A feminist throws a temper tantrum because she is not treated like the man of the house. Check it out here.